Yes, you're no different than those monsters I fought before. And like them, you will fall to my blade.
Dust, an Elysian Tale, is a 2D action platformer role-playing game by Humble Hearts LLC. It's available for Mac and PC, PS4, Xbox 360, and even Linux. The version I played was on the PlayStation 4 and downloaded over the PlayStation Network. It's a Metroidvania type of game, meaning you'll travel the world of Dust, returning to places which were previously inaccessible after finding items and abilities to unlock your path.
Don't worry about it. I'm sure there's a way to get up there. We'll just come back later.
I'm a huge fan of games like these, so you can consider my review extremely biased and overly critical. I played Dust, an Elysian Tale, for over 16 hours, and after defeating the final enemy, my completion rating read 112%. There are a few more percentage points up for grabs if I were interested in improving my challenge scores, but I'm not. Regardless, my completion percentage means that I've cleared 100% of all maps and unlocked 100% of every treasure, which is to say that I've seen and played the entire game. As far as seeing goes, Dust, an Elysian Tale looks pretty good on screen. The world is bright and colorful, and the characters are cute and cuddly. In that way, it reminds me of Chip and Dale Rescue Rangers, or some other furry Disney animation. Cute and cuddly characters in a hack and slash game is something I dislike. I would have preferred a human, or humanoid characters as the hero, and non-humans as the villains. Compared to games like Castlevania, Metroid, The Legend of Zelda, or Strider, I think this game should have followed their formula. Besides, I don't think I've been a fan of furry heroes since Sonic the Hedgehog on the old Sega Genesis. When it comes to cinema scenes and dialogue scenes, the art looks worse than during normal gameplay, which I think is backwards. Usually, cinema scenes look far better than the actual gameplay. When a developer has gameplay that looks nearly as good as their cinema scenes, they usually add a note that says, this is the actual gameplay footage, because gameplay footage usually isn't as good. In Dust and Elysian Tale, the cinema scenes lack the detail and color found throughout the rest of the game. If I had to guess, I'd say they used less than 16 colors during any cinema scene. Fortunately, I don't play this game for its cinema scenes. The sound effects are flawless, and the voice acting is also impeccable. I've heard others complain about Fidget's voice, saying that it's annoying, but I found Fidget to be adorable and was my favorite character in the game because of her voice acting.
Prospectors! We are prospectors! And we're out on an excavation to find, ore deposits in the mountains. You know, gold, silver, manganite?
Altogether, the sounds and voices matched everything I'd expect them to be. The gameplay animation is also very well executed. Each map has several layers of scrolling depth, giving this 2D platformer a really nice 3D effect. Compared to older games like Castlevania Symphony of the Night or Super Metroid, Dust and Elysian Tale has much more depth of animation, sometimes which appears to be 5 or 6 levels on some maps. But it's not as deep or layered as the most recent version of Strider. Nonetheless, it still looks really good. The main character seems clunky to me as he lumbers stiff-leggedly across the landscape, but he's fluid as he evades and chops down bad guys who cross his path. His controls are also fluid and responsive, and the game mechanics just feel right. There was never a time when I thought the physics felt wrong or the main character was unwieldy. If anything, the game goes out of its way to be accommodating. For example, if you jump and attack an airborne enemy, if that enemy is outside of your attack range, you'll magically magnetize yourself in their direction, which makes the game a lot easier. Honestly, I never saw a game over during my 16 hours of gameplay. Now, although I like to consider myself a veteran of video games, I'm not sure if this game is just really easy or if I'm that great. Early on, I was given a side quest to chain a 1,000 hit combo, and I thought, yeah, right, like that'll ever happen. But shortly thereafter, I had a 1,500 hit combo on my counter. Like I said, I don't think this game is really that difficult. As you play the game, you level up your character by earning skill gems, which can be used toward your health, attack, defense, and your familiar fidget. However, you're restricted from focusing all of your skill gems on one skill while neglecting another, because all of your skill points must be within 5 points of each other. This makes the game feel more like a facade than actual freedom to me. And I didn't like that feeling. I also didn't like the fact that I couldn't change my weapon.
What? A talking sword? What are you?
Only that which you have summoned.
For this game to be considered an RPG, lacking the ability to change your weapon is lacking. I'm surprised I haven't heard anyone else complain about it. What I like most about Metroidvania type games is collecting really cool weapons and equipment. There's only one weapon in Dust and Elysian Tale, and that's your sword. There are plenty of item drops, but they're only health items or crafting material or money. The crafting materials make items which boost your stats. The money is used for buying health items or treasure chest keys, teleport and revive gems, crafting materials to build stat boosting equipments, or simply to buy stat boosting equipment. You can rescue friends from secret cages, but unlocking friends just unlocks more stat boosts. The new skills you acquire only help you gain access to more parts of the world. You use the same sword and the same combos to fight every enemy in the entire game. Once I sufficiently overpowered my character, I began flying over enemies to avoid unnecessary battles. Fidget, your familiar, does gain 3 elemental attacks, but once she learns the electrical storm, I doubt you'll want to use anything else. The real challenge in this game comes from clearing all the maps, and especially from unlocking all the treasures. This is where the game truly shines and lures you into playing for always just a few more hours. Some of the treasures and quests leading up to them are so strange and perplexing that simply solving their puzzles is all the reward I needed. Overall, I still believe Dust and Elysian Tale is a worthy addition into the Metroidvania club of puzzle platformers. The action's not intense, and the characters don't look the greatest, but the mechanics are fluid, the controls are responsive, and the puzzles are always fun to solve, at least one time around. As always, stay tuned to shortpause.com for video game reviews, news, and for anime.